It's the basketball version of the world's largest cocktail party tonight in Athens, Georgia.
This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. And coming off another winning night last night, 2-1 on our selections. We'll go over that coming up in just a little bit. But we have a nice mix today. A couple of college basketball games, but also NFL season just ended a few days ago. So what are we talking about? NFL. We'll look ahead to 2026 and a couple of teams to win the Super Bowl. So we will get to that coming up in just a little bit. So let us begin, Lee. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party, not in Jacksonville, because the basketball games, at least they play at home, but this one in Athens, the Mike White Bowl. It's Florida and Georgia for our wrong team favorite.
What the fuck? WTF.
The Gators, they are back in business. It feels like they had like a little lull earlier in the season, and they're back to just playing like a national championship team. And now they make a trip to Georgia tonight to take on the Bulldogs, and Florida substantial favorites. So, Lee, what do you like here? Gators, Bulldogs, round 2.
Well, they didn't look good at all, to be honest with you. To start the season, the transfers, Boogie Fland and also Xavier Lee, just didn't look like they fit with what they were doing, but they have certainly adjusted. People were talking about, a back-to-back maybe title or at least a Final Four appearance this year. Todd Golden certainly has, put this team back on some real straight and narrow course. They had some early losses to Arizona, Duke, and UConn, but all close losses here. They have a really tough front line. Thomas Hott, he averages almost 18 a game. Alex Condon, wow, is he good? He does everything, almost 13.5 points per game. But the reason this line is so high, it's sitting at 9.5. I had made the line 6.5, 7, was they absolutely destroyed Texas A&M on the road on Saturday. So give them credit. Now they're facing Georgia, and the reason, on the other hand, also this line is high. Georgia, even though they did steady their course in their last game on Saturday against LSU, they had lost 3 straight games. So people think it's kind of a middling team here. But I still like what this team brings to the table. They've got some serious firepower. They brought in a Cal transfer, Jeremiah Wilkinson, averaging over 17 per game. He went into a little bit of a slump. Looks like he's coming out of it. Marcus Millander, the UTSA transfer guard, has looked good of late. And I just think this is a home court game here. The first game, Florida dominated. They out-rebounded Georgia 54-24, out-rebounded by 20. And there's no doubt that Florida is a better team. They're a taller team. But 20 rebounds, defense and rebounding is boxing out its desire. I think that you'll see them really give that all here tonight. And they shot 41% from the field and 21% from three-point land. So I think the line's too high. I could see, Florida winning like 85-80, holding off Georgia here, but 9.5 too much. We're going to go with a wrong team favored right out of the gate. Let's go with the Georgia Bulldogs plus the 9.5 points. I think they take this game right down to the wire.
All right, and a big one inside the SEC also for Florida. Don't forget, Saturday, guess who comes to Gainesville? The Kentucky Wildcats. So that's always a big game there when those two get together. So you wonder if there's a look-ahead factor, also considering Florida dominated Georgia the first time. So should be a good one tonight. Very busy night in college basketball, and we have a second pick coming up in just a moment. But looking back at last night, Lee, 2-1 on our picks. We'll start with the loser first. North Carolina, bit of a letdown after the comeback win over Duke. Miami played very well last night. Miami pretty much led from start to finish. Hurricanes beat the Tar Heels, and yeah, you were on UNC there, but give Miami a lot of credit. That's probably their biggest win they've had this season.
Head coach Lucas doing a great job. They didn't have anyone returning last year. 0 starters, 0 players. So to get in all these transfers in and to really put them together, I thought they were maybe a week or two away from putting it together, but give them credit. They were the better team. Might have caught North Carolina at the right time, but there was no doubt they were the better team last night. And I truly believe they're a March Madness team. They're going to be going dancing right now. If the season ended, probably be a 9 or 10 seed. So give Miami head coach Lucas and that program a lot of credit. And also the storming of the court. It wasn't quite as crazy as the Kansas storming of the court. Most people, the women were making sure their Gucci's, weren't going to get weren't going to get taken away from them, and there was a little hesitancy. It took them maybe about a minute and a half to fill up the court, but still semi-storming of the court. About 90% full last night. So, I'll be going to some Miami games and give them a lot of credit. I think they're doing a great job, and certainly they're in the top 4 or 5 teams in the ACC.
And the 2 winners we had last night, Fordham, they rallied past St. Joe's and won that game as about a 5-point underdog. So that one was a nice hit. And St. Joe's played well in the first half. They did nothing in the second half offensively. And in the NBA, you had the Spurs over the Lakers, and it turned out no one played for the Lakers. LeBron was out. Luka was out. I mean, J.J. Redick would have been better off suiting up himself for the Lakers just because of what they had out there. And it was just a blowout, and the Spurs just destroyed them there. It was good to see Bronny James score in double figures, considering the fact no one else is out there, so you have to score. Someone's got to score. But the Spurs, that's a game that you got to roll, and they did.
Yeah. Victor Wembanyama, 40 points in like 20-something minutes. So, wow, is he a force, unstoppable right now? So, San Antonio, we'll dive more into it after the All-Star break, but who knows? They could take down Oklahoma City. Certainly, they've dominated them. I think it's all 4 games so far this year. So it looks like it's shaping up. Whoever wins, just like in the NFC in football with Seattle and the Rams, it looks like it's going to be San Antonio and Oklahoma City. Whoever wins that's going to be the NBA champion.
Yeah, amazing. That San Antonio was 4-0 against Oklahoma City this year, and the Lakers, after that great start, they've tapered off a little bit there in the Pacific Division. So now let's go back to college basketball and go out west now. The WCC. We haven't really hit on the WCC, the West Coast Conference, and it's time now for our college basketball hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Now, normally with hidden gems, we take an underdog. But in this case, the San Diego Toreros, who are in second to last in the WCC, hosting the Pilots of Portland tonight. San Diego's a 2.5-point favorite, Steve Lavin's group, and we're going to back San Diego tonight at home. Now, a couple things here on Portland. Portland, if you all remember, shocked Gonzaga about a week ago as 23-point home underdogs. They came back and played Seattle up next, who just moved to the WCC this year from the WAC. Seattle was up for most of that game. Portland came back, took the lead in the second half. Seattle ended up leading late, and then Portland hit a shot and then a three-pointer to win it. So they're off 2 big home wins. Now Portland goes on the road where they're 1-9 so far on the season. And San Diego's back home after a couple of 20-plus point losses at St. Mary's and Loyola Marymount. So they're back home now, and you would think they play a little bit better. Here's good news for San Diego. Portland is 10th in the West Coast Conference in three-point shooting, 30% in West Coast Conference play. San Diego, 3rd in the conference, defending the 3 at 31.9. So Portland will probably not be successful from three-point range tonight. They've been bad on the road. They're off 2 huge wins. I just can't see how you keep up this momentum again. I think with average type teams, Lee, that especially in college sports, you can only do so much for so long, and the bottom falls out, even against a team that's inferior to you, which it seems like with San Diego. And San Diego, I got to think, is pretty motivated here. This is a bigger game for them than for Portland off 2 huge home wins. So we're going to lay the 2.5 with the Toreros of San Diego tonight against Portland. Some late night WCC action as our Wednesday night college basketball hidden gem.
I like it. Yeah, a lot of things working for them tonight. So perfect case, maybe catching a team at the right time here. I mean, after that big win and then another really big game, I don't think it's really tough for college basketball teams to play really well 3 times in a row.
Especially when you've won 1 road game this season. So we'll see how that turns out. And by the way, that 1 road win, I believe they were 7.5, 8.5 point dogs at Loyola Marymount. So they were huge dogs in that game. Now just a short dog tonight.
Ooh,
all right.
Another
Coming
note,
up, yes,
note coming up. I was thinking about it. I don't know if people noticed this, but another Division I football team will be joining, playing next year. North Dakota State will be joining, be a Division I team. You know, we've seen in the past couple of years, Jacksonville State, Sam Houston State, about time. I mean, I think they've won something like 6 of the last 10 national championships, or maybe 7 of the last 10. Prominent program, and I'm glad to see it. I think they're going to be very competitive right out of the gate. So good thing, I think, for college football. The only thing missing is we need a team from Alaska. You know, we've got a team in Hawaii. Why not Alaska, Anchorage? They need to start a program. People think of it as, you know, Alaska being freezing. It was colder, I think, like a week, 10 days ago. My daughter was in Anchorage for a she had a conference, and it was 36 in Miami. It was 39, 40 in Anchorage. Doesn't get that cold compared to other parts of Alaska. So, you know, just giving the Alaska Anchorage brass something to think about. Start a program. You know, they, I think, got a big enough population. They would dominate there. Hawaii's doing a nice job. They've come back to prominence, and why not get a team? You know, you got a little bit of a travel advantage there, and a bunch of teams, you know, start them off, you know, Division II, then move to FCS, you know, play against teams, you know, South Dakota, North Dakota, in that region, Montana and Idaho, and then move on up.
Yeah, North Dakota State going to the Mountain West next year, and changes with the Pac-12 coming back and the Mountain West moving around. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Carson Wentz's school. We'll see how that turns out for them moving up. Coming up, we're going to talk some NFL. That's right, off-season. There's no off-season in the NFL. And we're going to look ahead to next season with a couple of Super Bowl predictions, and that is coming up. You are listening to the Wednesday edition of Locked On Bets. FanDuel, that is right. We are here, and guess what time it is? I mean, I'm sure you've been watching it. The Winter Games, they are officially here. They've been underway for several days already, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years, and that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events to finding your angle on the sports you care about most, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. You've been watching a lot of this, I'm sure. Women's hockey underway, men's hockey is getting underway, and those are 2 of the biggest events out there. Of course, you have figure skating, you have bobsledding, you have luge, you have the ski jump. They jump very far with that, and also the skiing as well. So many events that you can wager on. Speed skating, just it's endless. It really is, with all the events that you can look at. And FanDuel keeps the entire Olympic experience engaging from start to finish. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. All right, we continue here. Locked On Bets on a Wednesday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports, and a couple days removed from the Super Bowl. So we move on to next year's Super Bowl and looking ahead to that. Super Bowl 61 already, not even Valentine's Day, but we're going to do it, and a couple of bet a little, win a lot.
They say you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So bet a little, win a lot.
Lee, you got 2 teams that you're looking at to jump on now as far as to win the Super Bowl next season. One from the AFC, one from the NFC. What are you looking at?
All right, so both conferences really, except for the NFC and probably Seattle and the Rams, have a lot of weaknesses. But I think I've targeted two teams that I think that are going to be much improved next year. And one didn't make the playoffs, get to that in a second. The other was in the playoffs and was dispatched easily. And I think they have some nice odds here. You want to play them right away to get on a futures play. Number one in the AFC, the LA Chargers. LA Chargers offensive line was decimated before the season really even started. Lost their two starting offensive tackles, their two best linemen, lost another lineman for a significant part of the season. You can't play in the NFL without your three best linemen. So they were crippled going against better teams, couldn't run the football. They're also without their best running back for most of the season in the playoffs. So Mike McDaniel also not a good head coach for the Dolphins, but I think he's going to settle in. He's going to bring a dimension to their offense that they've needed. So I like the LA Chargers plus the 700. The teams ahead of them, the Ravens, I think their defense is horrendous. Same with Buffalo, even though the coaching change might help them out. And the teams behind them, the Patriots, they may never get there again. Their offense is putrid. Kansas City's missing talent. Denver, Houston, Jacksonville, Cincinnati, I'm not buying in. On the other conference, everyone loves Seattle, but they went the whole season really without any major significant injuries. They lost their backup running back. That's it going into the Super Bowl. So, maybe, we see Stafford's not injury, but injury status change. I don't know if he can continue to go as long as he's going without a major injury. They have some holes to fill. Seattle, after you're defending the title, is tough. Give me Detroit. Why do I like Detroit at 8-1? I think they have explosiveness on offense. They had a bunch of guys on defense returning after year-end surgery the year before. When you tear your ACL, come back from a shoulder injury, that first year, usually you're not the same. The second year, I think they'll be better. I think they're going to be able to draft. They have some draft capital, be able to find some guys, free agency also. And then also they had two first-year coordinators last year. That whole exchange, I think, didn't go real well. So we'll go with first the LA Chargers plus the 700 and the Detroit Lions plus 800. Bet a little, win a whole lot.
All right. Looking forward to the NFL season, and it never stops. We'll find out the schedule in a few months. We have the draft coming up in a few months as well. So, again, NFL never sleeps, which is always good. All right, Lee, and same thing with Paramount Sports. Never sleeps because you still have basketball. We are heading to the NBA All-Star break. There's still a lot going on with college hoops as well, really hitting its peak right now in February.
Well, I mean, what we've done on the show, I think we've won 7 of 8, 8 of 9 winning weeks, so everyone's happy. Everyone's, after the Super Bowl in a little bit of a lull, but college basketball is great right now. We're on a roll. NBA doing well there also. So you want to get a combo pack. You want to get basketball, hockey, or the UFC for a year. So basketball and hockey go through the finals in mid-June. Pick two of those three and just $1,000 running that special. That'll run through the weekend. UFC for 1 year, $597. That's 43 UFC cards. Works out to $13, I think, and 50 cents a card. You don't have to pay $50, $60 a week in a card. Just know it's going to show up via text by every Friday afternoon for the cards on Saturday. Check out all the specials or call me. Be more than happy to speak to you. You're trying to figure out how to, structure your gambling and your units and how much you should be playing. You're looking for someone that can win for you on a consistent basis, not these ads. I'm looking at my Facebook, Kevin. I'm looking at TikTok, Instagram. Every different way. I'm seeing, 29-4, 32-1 records. A lot of these ads, and they are ads, are owned. Some of these companies are owned. One person owns 8 or 10 companies, and they're just pouring out ads, looking to get someone that's desperate, might have lost, or looking for the pie in the sky. Not that case. Anyone telling you they're hitting over 60% in a long period of time, just not telling the truth. Check us out, ParamountSports.com or 800-400-9741.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets. as well as the podcast edition. You can find it on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. Type in Locked On Bets. You'll be all set. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.